Okay, let's talk about carburetors. They're great when they're working. Not so great when they're not.
If you have to pump the pedal to keep your car running,
If your car hesitates every time you step on the gas,
if your car won't idle smoothly, if your car is giving off smoke signals, if you smell gas around your engine,
well then welcome to the wonderful world of carburetor problems. A carburetor does the same thing as fuel injection, except it relies on a lot of small mechanical parts to work. No electrical sensors here.
before you rebuild any carburetor,
First thing you have to do is you got to make sure your wife isn't home, because she's not going to be too happy with you when you rebuild the carburetor on the kitchen table. So first thing, make sure she's not at home. I don't want to be responsible for any more divorces. The divorce rate is high enough as it is. Second thing, you should open some windows in the house to ventilate, because the gas fumes will build up. Okay, the third thing. It's always a great idea to have a canary present with you, just like the coal miners did back in the day. Canaries are very sensitive to air quality, and they will die exactly 8 minutes before you do. So if you happen to notice that your canary is dead, it might be a good time to start thinking about leaving the area before bad things happen to you.
Remember, smoking and carburetor rebuilding don't mix.
Oh boy. Okay, let's talk about parts pan selection. I prefer a white porcelain pan with a red rim.
but feel free to use whatever pan you like. Too small, too big. The size is right, but I don't know about the no-stick coating. No good. A roasting pan is a great choice. A dustpan is just about useless. Use this one around Valentine's Day. Whatever you choose.
I would stay away from plastic and styrofoam pans, because the carb cleaner will eat through them. Okay, let's get busy. My favorite part about the job is mixing up the carb cleaner.
Okay, let's start by removing the linkage that actuates the accelerator pump. In this case, it's reverse thread. Now remove all the screws that hold the air horn down to the main body of the carburetor. Okay, when it comes to separating the pieces of the carburetor, always use a rubber mallet to tap them apart. If you do so, you'll have a good chance of saving the gasket. Plus, it'll make it easier to get the gasket off in one piece. Now remove the nozzles for the accelerator pump circuit. Now it's time to remove the seat. Now is a good time to check the float to make sure it is moving freely. Remove the retaining clip that holds the float in. Remove the float from the float bowl. The best way to check a float is to completely submerge it in water. Now you can remove the power valve, which is a very important part of the power circuit. The power valve enriches the mixture when the vacuum drops. Remove the plugs to allow access to the jets. Now remove the jets. Let's remove the throttle plate so we can thoroughly clean the whole carburetor. Oops, I should have tapped it with the rubber mallet. Now is a good time to remove the needle valves for the idle circuit, so we can thoroughly clean all the passages and the needles themselves. Okay, it's the moment of truth. I'm going to pull the float out of the water. Oh, it's floating, that's a good sign. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shake the float, and I'm feeling for water, and I'm listening for water shaking around inside the float. And it's good. There's no water inside the float. So I'm going to give this float a good bill of health. If the float ever gets stuck in a down position, either because it's jammed, or if the float fills up with gasoline, and it's in the float bowl and it's stuck in a down position, the metering seat will remain open. When the car doesn't require gas, so what will happen is you'll see gasoline, like a geyser effect, you'll see gasoline shooting straight out the top of the carburetor. If you ever experience a stuck float on the road, you can always try tapping the side of the carburetor with a screwdriver. Just like painting a house, the groundwork or preparation is the most important part of the carburetor rebuild. Make sure you get all the crud, all the gunk out of the carburetor before you begin to rebuild it. Before you install your plunger, or your accelerator pump, you're supposed to flare the little rubber cup on the bottom. Then you're supposed to soak it in oil, some light oil. Use compressed air to blow out all passages. Before you begin reassembly, please familiarize yourself with the exploded view of all the parts in the carburetor. Also, it is critical that the float setting is correct. The jets are little brass screws with holes in them. They control the flow of gas in the main metering circuit. One speck of dirt is all it takes to stop the flow of gas through this jet. After making certain you have the right gaskets, it's time to reinstall your throttle plates. Now reinstall your idle circuit adjustment screws. Reinstall your vacuum fittings. Reinstall your idle tubes. Okay, let's reinstall the power valve. Once again, the power valve enriches the mixture under hard acceleration or when a car is climbing a hill. The next thing you have to do is install the check balls for the accelerator pump circuit. If you do not install the balls, the accelerator pump circuit will not work properly. So please, put the balls in the right place. Now reinstall the accelerator pump nozzles. Okay, we're getting there. Just one plate full of parts left. Install the spring for the accelerator pump. Without the accelerator pump circuit, you would experience a hesitation every time you stepped on the gas. Install your needle and seat so we can set the float. Get your float setting from the spec sheet. Measure from the top of the float to the top of the carburetor body. That's your measurement. Float level is critical. Take your time. Bend the float as needed. Okay, now that the float is adjusted properly, it's time to fasten the float pivot right into place here so the float doesn't fall out. What you have to do is you have to manipulate a little metal clip into place, and it's like a little spring. Sometimes it can get away from you. The last thing you want is a trip to the emergency room. So it's always a good idea to wear some glasses, safety glasses. Once you get the float all squared away, now it's time to put a fresh gasket down and fasten the air horn back down to the main body of the carburetor. Now it's time to tighten the screws that hold the air horn down to the main body of the carburetor. Please, do not over-tighten these screws. You can always go back and tighten them a little more later. When reattaching the accelerator pump linkage, pay close attention to orientation, otherwise you may have a linkage that binds. Reattach the lower air cleaner assembly. Reinstall air cleaner gasket. Always check for binding. There it is, a Stromberg 2-barrel carburetor, all rebuilt and ready to go. Check out the next video, you'll see it running on the truck.
Car cleaner.